Hello, our listeners and viewers, and welcome to our media edition. You are watching iTech News, your source of information from around the world. I am Ayeladis, and this is News Hour, bringing you exclusive coverage, global insights, and in-depth analysis. And this News Hour edition focuses on green revolution, plus look at sports, health, and global economics. We began our news hour bulletin in Ethiopia, where a historic environmental milestone has been achieved. The country has planted over 30 billion trees since 2019, shattering global recording and placing Ethiopia among the top climate champions. The massive Green Legacy initiative launched by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed aims to combat deforestation, restore ecosystems, and contribute to global carbon reduction goals. International environmental bodies have held the project as a model for developing nations. The United Nations Economic Environmental Programme confirmed that Ethiopia's forest cover has increased by more than 23% in the past 5 years, an unprecedented rate in African history. We have details of the story.
We launched the Green Legacy Initiative. 7 years on, we have planted over 48 billion seedlings. They cool our land, protect our soil, restore watersheds, provide food, create jobs, and grow exports.
In what experts call unprecedented environmental victory, Ethiopia has planted over 30 billion trees since launch of the Green Legacy Initiative in 2019, earning recognition as the largest reforestation movement in the world's modern history. The program, initiated by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, aims to combat deforestation, restore degraded landscapes, and mitigate the escalating effect of climate change.
One of the key pledges that countries made at the UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow was to halt and reverse deforestation and land degradation by 2030. In line with this goal, African countries have come together and committed to restore 100 million hectares of land across the continent, representing close to 4% of Africa's land area. In an effort to strengthen regional cooperation for climate resilience, Ethiopia has expanded its Green Legacy initiative to neighboring countries by sharing its seedlings. But it is no longer simply a matter of reaching targets. We must work together to forge a new system of green living, green behavior, and green development in Africa and in the world at large. There is no doubt that future generations will reap the benefits of the seeds we are sowing today through the Green Legacy initiative.
Ethiopia's campaign began with a simple goal: to plant 20 billion trees by 2022. By 2025, the country had exceeded this target by 50%, positioning itself as a continental leader in environmental restoration. The effort aligns with the African Union Agenda 2063 and the Great Green Wall Initiative, both designed to restore Africa's ecosystems and create sustainable livelihoods. According to the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Forest and Climate Change, the initiative covers all 12 regional states and city administration. The regions of Oromia, Amhara, and southern Ethiopia have contributed the highest numbers, with hundreds of millions of seedlings distributed through community nurseries. Beyond its environmental significance, the program has had deep social and economic effects. The campaign generated thousands of jobs, especially for youth and women, in nursery management, seed collection, and environmental education. Tree planting is now part of our national identity, said Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali. It's now just about green cover. It's about building resilience, improving livelihoods, and inspiring Africa.
It is time to replace climate aid with climate investment. The returns will be measured in avoided emissions, millions of jobs, enhanced food security, stabilized regions, and a more resilient global climate.
Rural communities have reported better soil quality, improved water availability, and renewed biodiversity. Agricultural yields have increased in some areas due to the positive microclimate change triggered by reforestation. Internationally, Ethiopian Green Legacy Initiative is being held as a model for climate diplomacy. The United Nations Environmental Programme, UNP, and the World Resource Institute have cited Ethiopia as pioneer of community-based climate adaptation. The country's massive contribution could offset an estimated 65 million tons of carbon emission over the next decade, equivalent to removing 15 million cars from the road.
We must make Africa the place where the world sees climate goals achieved, where reforestation is not a pilot project but a culture, where climate-smart agriculture feeds millions, and where green corridors connect cities and rural areas in a shared economy of life.
Ethiopia's story demonstrates the power of public mobilization and visionary environmental leadership. In a time when global temperatures are reaching record highs, this initiative offers both hope and a blueprint for action. From Addis Ababa to the arid plains of Afar, the message is clear. Reforestation is not only possible, it's transformative.
Ethiopia's environmental achievements have placed the nation in the spotlight at this year's Global Climate Leadership Summit. Coming up later, we will bring you insights from climate experts and policymakers in our special panel discussion on global warming and climate diplomacy. But first, let us take a look at other top story. A major World Health Organization study warns that antimicrobial resistance could cause 10 million diseases annually by 2050. If left unaddressed, researchers emphasize the need to strict antibiotics regulation, public education, and investment in new drug discovery. And in response, a new Africa-India One Health initiative will soon launch projects to tackle antibiotics misuse through communication, education, and policy reform. Let us find out more detail of the story.
Antimicrobial resistance, or AMR, is undermining healthcare globally, making many antibiotics and other medicines on which we depend less effective. Routine infections are becoming harder to treat, debilitating, or deadly. Every year, AMR contributes to nearly 5 million deaths, and without urgent action, that number will only grow. World AMR Awareness Week helps us spread the word about the concrete actions needed to tackle AMR. This include preventing infections, using the right medicines the right way, developing new antibiotics, and reducing the unnecessary use of antimicrobials in healthcare, agriculture, and food production. Stopping AMR is a shared responsibility. Let's work together to protect the medicines that protect us.
While pandemics like COVID-19 shock the world visibly, another slower, deadlier threat is emerging beneath the surface: antimicrobial resistance. The World Health Organization (WHO) has labeled it one of the top 10 global health threats of our time. Without urgent intervention, experts warn that antimicrobial resistance could kill up to 10 million people annually by 2050, surpassing deaths caused by cancer. Antimicrobial resistance occurs when bacteria, virus, fungi, or parasites evolve to resist drugs designed to kill them. This makes infections harder and sometimes impossible to treat. Hospitals worldwide are reporting a rise in superbugs resistance to multiple antibiotics. The overuse and misuse of antibiotics in humans, livestock, and agricultural main drivers. In many developing countries, antibiotics can still be bought over the counter without prescription, making a regulation nearly impossible. We are entering a post-antibiotic era warns Dr. Michael Gaite.
So we're going to get ill and die of resistant infections, but also in animals, and that has huge agricultural costs. And then there's the risk of zoonotic infection spreading from animals to humans.
Antimicrobial resistance is not just a human health issue, it's an ecology one. The One Health framework integrates human, animal, and environmental health to combat the spread of resistance. Wastewater contamination, unregulated hospital effluents, and agricultural runoff all contribute to resistant bacterial strains. Ethiopia is partnering with India and other nations through joint research program to monitor cross-border antimicrobial resistant trends and strengthen laboratory capacities. An epidemiologist, routine surgeries, children, or even minor infections could become life-threatening. In Africa, the situation is especially there. Weak surveillance system, limited diagnostic tools, and counterfeit medicines worsen the crisis. Ethiopia, Nigeria, Kenya are among the countries now implementing national action plans on antimicrobial resistance support by African antibiotic misuse in 16% community pharmacies surveyed. Farmers commonly use antibiotics to speed up livestock growth, creating reservoirs of resistance that spread through the food chain. Globally, antimicrobial resistance threatens to trigger an economic downturn similar to 2008 financial crisis. The World Bank projects that unchecked antimicrobial resistance could reduce global GDP by 3.8% by 2050 and push up to 28 million people into poverty, especially in lower-income countries. The African Health Communications Fellowship 2025, co-led by public health experts from Ethiopia, is raising awareness about responsible antibiotics use through multimedia campaigns, documentaries, and community dialogue. Public education is key, say Tai Zeru, a One Health advocate. People must understand that antibiotics are not a cure for everything. Each misuse today means one less treatment option tomorrow.
በመድኃኒት የተላመደ ጀርሞች እንደ ዓለም በጣም ከፍተኛ የጤና ችግር እያስከተሉ ነው። ለዚህም የዓለም ጤና ድርጅት በ10 የመጀመሪያ ቅድሚያ የሚሰጣቸው የጤና ችግሮች ውስጥ አንዱ መድኃኒት የተላመዱ ጀርሞች እንደሆኑ በመረጃ አስቀምጧል። ስለዚህ በዚህ መሰረት እንግዲህ በዓለም ላይ በየዓመቱ 700,000 ያህል ሰዎች በዚህ በመድኃኒት በተላመዱ ጀርሞች ይሞታሉ። ይሄም ማለት እንግዲህ በየደቂቃው አንድ ሰው በደቂቃ አንድ ሰው ይሞታል ማለት ነው። እንደ በ2022 በተጠና ጥናት መሰረት ደግሞ በ2050 ይህንን ችግር በትክክል ማስቆምና አፋጣኝ ምላሽ መስጠት ካልቻልን በ2050 ወደ 10 ሚሊዮን የሚደርሱ ሰዎች በዚህ ችግር ይሞታሉ ማለት ነው።
Antimicrobial resistance is the world's next great health emergency, an invisible pandemic that could undo decades of medical progress. The global community must invest in surveillance, antibiotic stewardship, and innovation while enforcing responsible pharmaceutical policies. If the COVID-19 pandemic taught the world one thing, it is this: delayed action costs lives. Antimicrobial resistance is no longer a distant threat. It is here, spreading quietly, demanding global solidarity and swift response.
ባለሙያዎች እንደነገሩን መድኃኒት የሚላመዱ ጀርሞችን ለመከላከል ማንኛውም ማህበረሰብ ኃላፊነት አለበት። መድኃኒት አጠቃቀም፣ አወጋገድ፣ አያያዝ በተለይም ደግሞ ህብረተሰቡ በንቃት በሚያደርጋቸው ኃላፊነት የመወጣት ሂደት ውስጥ ህብረተሰብን ከማህበራዊ ጤና ችግሮች ከምርታማነቱ መታደግ ይቻላል። Those are your top stories this hour. When we return, we will dive into our panel discussion on climate change and global warming, how the countries can lead the fight for a sustainable change. Stay with us.
አሳው ያማራት ውሃው እየጠማት አባይ ዳር ነው ቤቴ ብትል ማን ሊሰማት ነው? አባይ ዳር ተቀምጠ አባይን ተንተርሰ ውሃ ሲጠማ
አባይ በሀገሬ እየከፋ ለማፈሯን እየገፋ የቁጭት በትሩን በልጆቿ ልባ ኑሮ ከህዝብ ተኳርፎ ለዘመናት ኖሯል። ወዲህ ደግሞ በረሃውን አረንጓዴ ሸማ አልብሶ የስልጣኔ የቱሪዝምና የልማት መስክ ሆኖ የሀገር ልጅ መሆኑን ረስቷል።
Welcome back. You are watching iTech News, News Hour Special Edition. Joining us now for our panel discussion on climate change and global warming is Mr. Mohammed Effan from Mauritius. Together we will explore how nations like Mauritius are setting example in reforestation and what it means for global climate diplomacy and climate change. Mr. Mohammed Effan, could you briefly welcome to our study
Thank
studio?
you, Ayele. It is a pleasure to be here.
As you watch in the News Hour detail analysis, we are also starting, and everyone is responsible for a climate action now. Can you briefly tell me about the causes, consequences of the global warming and the current status of your country?
You know, Ayele, Mauritius is a tropical island surrounded by the sea, and we do face threats from climate change. The rising sea level is causing extreme weather conditions, and the coastal erosion as well as in the public infrastructure. Recently, even from the last 2 years, we witnessed flash floods, and the government is working to improve the infrastructure to prevent the flash floods, which are causing significant damage to public and even the cars of people who were much damaged from previous flash floods. We are working together with the local communities to come with projects such as to prevent coastal erosions. We are planting more trees, and we opt for renewable sources of energy.
A lot of countries, their own examples, international organization, local organization, including the media, are doing their own jobs, like Pulitzer Center and ARMACA also established their own hydropower climate change awareness and education programs. So what are the next solution and the steps you recommend based on your background?
Yes, we are actually involved in tree planting. The government, the local communities, and even the NGOs are putting efforts together to plant more trees, and we are using agricultural land to do more planting more forest, and along the coastline we are planting mangrove trees, which will help with the help of their roots to prevent coastal erosion.
The best example, the final question, the medium expert and leader of the Mauritius and the global experience. What are the major recommendations doing as a journalist, speaking story, producing story for each task to involve it, whether in the public, international organization, and media? What stakeholders are doing in the future according to your recommendations?
Yes, the government, along with the private sector, has signed different agreements. The CPF and even the SUNREF agreement, which is links all African countries together. Different conferences is being held throughout the year, and with the help of media, we tend to inform the audience, the public, how to combat, how they can contribute in helping reduce climate change in our country.
Mr. Mohammed Effan, thank you very much for staying with us and sharing your experience. Our planet doesn't need saving. We do act now. Plant tree, reduce waste, protect tomorrow. A climate message from iTech News Hour. Thank you for staying with us. Powerful insights from our panel, and that climate remind and reflect what is truly at stake. And that brings us to the end of News Hour on iTech News. From the newsroom here in Safety, I'm Ayala Addis. For more stories, visit our website or follow us on social media for breaking news, documentaries, and exclusive reports. Until next time, keep watching, stay informed, and stay inspired.